What are thoughts, really? Have you ever wondered what your thoughts truly are? They feel so personal, so deeply embedded in your sense of self, that it's hard to question their reality. But what if I told you your thoughts aren't as real as they seem? What if they're nothing more than fleeting illusions, shaping how you see the world, but holding no actual truth about who you are? This simple but profound realization could completely change how you view yourself and your mind. At their essence, thoughts are just electrical signals firing between neurons in your brain. That's it, tiny bursts of energy designed to process information. Yet, we often treat our thoughts as something sacred, something powerful enough to define our worth, our identity, and our potential. The truth is, they're just mental events, much like clouds drifting through the sky. They appear, they shift, and then they disappear. But unlike clouds, which we observe without attachment, we cling to our thoughts, giving them more weight than they deserve. Think about this. Have you ever tried to hold on to a single thought? Maybe you've replayed a memory, worried about the future, or analyzed a decision over and over. The harder you try to grasp a thought, the more it seems to slip away, doesn't it? That's because thoughts are not meant to be permanent. They're temporary visitors, not the foundation of who you are. Here's a powerful truth. Your thoughts are not facts. They're not reality. They're interpretations your brain creates based on stimuli around you. For example, let's say someone walks past you and frowns. Instantly, your brain generates a thought. They're upset with me. But is that true? Or is it just a story your mind created based on your past experiences, insecurities, or assumptions? The reality is, thoughts are guesses, projections, and often outright wrong. This misunderstanding is why thoughts can be deceiving. We treat them like solid truths, but they're anything but. Imagine sitting by a river, watching leaves float by. You wouldn't jump into the river to grab a leaf, right? You'd just observe it, let it pass, and maybe even forget about it moments later. This is exactly how you can approach your thoughts. They're like the leaves on that river, drifting, flowing, and ultimately insignificant unless you choose to grab onto them. But why do we cling so tightly to thoughts if they're so impermanent? The answer lies in how we've been conditioned. From a young age, we're taught to value intellect, to think critically, and to solve problems. Over time, this creates the illusion that our thoughts define who we are. We equate thinking with being. But here's the thing, you are not your thoughts. You're not the stories your mind tells. You're something much deeper, a conscious, aware being that exists beyond the chatter of the mind. When you let go of identifying with your thoughts, you open the door to true freedom. You no longer feel controlled by every doubt, fear, or insecurity that pops into your head. Instead, you start to see thoughts for what they are, passing phenomena like waves on the surface of the ocean. And here's the best part, you're not the waves. You're the ocean, vast, limitless, and steady, no matter what storms may come. So, the next time a thought arises, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, is this thought true? Do I need to believe it? By observing your thoughts, instead of identifying with them, you take the first step toward uncovering the real you, the you that exists beyond illusions, beyond the noise. This simple shift can completely transform your life, freeing you to live with clarity, peace, and authenticity. Your thoughts are not who you are. They're just a small part of the story your mind tells. And once you realize that, you can finally begin to live the life you were meant to live, free from the illusion of the mind. The illusion of thought control. Have you ever believed you were in complete control of your thoughts? That the mental chatter in your mind was entirely your creation? It's a comforting idea, isn't it, the belief that we are the masters of our own minds? But what if I told you that this sense of control is one of the greatest illusions your mind has ever created? The truth might surprise you. You don't control your thoughts. Think about it. Have you ever been sitting quietly, maybe relaxing after a long day, and suddenly a random thought pops into your head? Perhaps it's an embarrassing memory from years ago, or a song you haven't heard in months starts playing in your mind on repeat. Did you consciously choose to think about those things? No, you didn't. They simply appeared uninvited, like an unexpected guest. This spontaneous nature of thought is a reminder that the mind is like a factory. It produces thoughts constantly and endlessly. It doesn't wait for your permission or input. It's just doing its job. But here's the kicker. You are not the factory. You're the observer of its output, watching as these thoughts come and go. Let's test this idea. Right now, try to stop thinking completely. Close your eyes and tell your mind to be silent for just 10 seconds. What happens? Most likely, your mind rebelled. Thoughts still arose, unbidden, even when you actively tried to stop them. This proves a profound truth. Thoughts are not something you control. They arise on their own, shaped by your environment, past experiences, and subconscious patterns. Here's an example you might relate to. Imagine walking past someone who gives you a strange look. Instantly, your mind generates a thought. Did I do something wrong? Do they not like me? Did you deliberately choose to think that? Of course not. Your brain automatically produced those thoughts based on past insecurities or fears, without you even realizing it. This is the illusion of control. Your mind convinces you that because a thought appeared, it must be yours, and therefore it must matter. But here's the liberating truth. Just because a thought appears doesn't mean you have to believe it. Thoughts are not commands. They're not truths. They're not even necessarily yours. They're simply echoes of your environment, shaped by societal conditioning and past experiences. Once you realize this, the power your thoughts have over you begins to fade. Think of your mind like a river, with your thoughts flowing by like leaves on the water. You don't need to jump in and grab every leaf. Instead, you can sit on the riverbank and watch them drift by. Some leaves may catch your attention for a moment, but you don't have to hold on to them. You can let them pass. This shift in perspective, seeing yourself as the observer rather than the thinker, creates incredible freedom. Instead of feeling trapped by the mental chatter, you can step back and recognize it for what it is: noise. When you stop trying to control your thoughts, you stop giving them power over your emotions and actions. Here's an empowering thought. You are not your thoughts, and you don't have to obey them. You can observe them without judgment, choosing which ones to focus on and which ones to let go. By doing this, you reclaim your inner peace and clarity, breaking free from the constant tug of war in your mind. The next time a thought arises, whether it's an anxious worry or a moment of self-doubt, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, did I choose this thought? Is it even true? By questioning your thoughts, instead of blindly accepting them, you start to see their illusory nature. And once you recognize the illusion, it loses its grip on you. You are not your mind's factory, nor are you its worker. You are the silent, steady observer, the one who watches the thoughts drift by, untouched and unshaken. This realization is the key to unlocking a life of clarity, freedom. How thoughts shape perception. Did you know that your thoughts don't just come and go? They actively shape the way you see the world. They act like invisible lenses, coloring every experience, interaction, and decision you make. But here's the kicker. Those lenses aren't always accurate. In fact, your thoughts can distort reality in ways you might not even realize, creating a version of the world that isn't entirely true. Understanding how this works is the first step to freeing yourself from the illusions of your mind. Imagine waking up in a bad mood. Maybe you didn't sleep well, or you're worried about something at work. Almost instantly, this emotional state influences your thoughts. You might think, today is going to be awful, or why does everything feel so hard? As the day goes on, these thoughts act like a filter, distorting how you interpret everything. Someone cuts you off in traffic, and you think people are so rude. A coworker is quiet during a meeting, and you assume they must be upset with me. But here's the question: are these interpretations true? Or are they just stories your mind is creating based on your initial mood? This is how thoughts work. They shape your perception of reality, but they're not necessarily rooted in fact. This phenomenon is known as cognitive bias, and it's a natural part of how the brain operates. Your mind is constantly trying to make sense of the world by taking shortcuts. But these shortcuts are often based on past experiences, emotions, and fears, rather than objective reality. For example, if you've ever had a bad experience with a friend not responding to your texts, your mind might assume that anyone who doesn't reply quickly is upset with you. That's not reality. It's your mind projecting an old story onto a new situation. What's even more fascinating is how thoughts can create self-fulfilling prophecies. If you think, I'm going to mess up this presentation, your anxiety might cause you to stumble over your words, reinforcing the belief that you're bad at public speaking. Your thoughts create your reality, not because they're true, but because they influence your behavior and perception in ways that make them feel true. But here's the good news. Once you're aware of how your thoughts shape perception, you can start to take control. The first step is learning to question your thoughts. When a thought arises, ask yourself, is this really true? Or is it just my mind creating a story? This simple act of questioning can break the automatic cycle of thought, perception, and behavior, giving you the clarity to see things as they truly are. Another powerful practice is mindfulness. When you focus on the present moment, you create space between yourself and your thoughts. Instead of reacting to them impulsively, you can observe them from a distance, like watching clouds drift across the sky. For example, if you're feeling irritated, you might pause and notice the physical sensations of frustration, tightness in your chest, a furrowed brow without letting your mind spiral into stories about why you're upset. Here's a liberating truth. Your thoughts are not facts, and they don't define your reality. They're just interpretations, mental filters your brain uses to process the world. The more you detach from them, the more freedom you gain to see the world as it truly is, free from distortions, assumptions, and biases. Think of your thoughts as a camera lens. If the lens is smudged, every picture you take will look distorted, even though the world itself hasn't changed. Cleaning the lens by questioning your thoughts and practicing mindfulness allows you to see life clearly without the unnecessary noise. So the next time you find yourself caught in a whirlwind of negative thoughts, take a step back. Remind yourself, this is just my mind trying to make sense of things. It's not reality. By shifting your perspective, you can reclaim your peace, clarity, and freedom. Remember, you are not your thoughts, you are the observer of them. And when you detach from their grip, you begin to see life as it truly is: vibrant, beautiful, and full of limitless possibilities. The power of letting go. Why do we cling so tightly to our thoughts? Why do we analyze them, replay them, and let them consume so much of our mental energy? The answer is simple. We've been conditioned to believe that holding on to our thoughts gives us control. But here's the paradox. The harder you cling to your thoughts, the more control they have over you. Letting go of thoughts isn't about ignoring them or pretending they don't exist. It's about recognizing them for what they are: fleeting, unreliable, and ultimately not who you are, and learning to release their grip on your mind. Imagine your thoughts as waves in the ocean. Some are small ripples, others are towering waves. When a particularly strong wave of worry or doubt crashes into your mind, your first instinct might be to fight it, to push it away or solve it. But what happens when you try to fight the ocean? You exhaust yourself. The waves keep coming, and you feel like you're drowning in them. Now, imagine instead that you simply float. You let the waves come and go without resistance. Suddenly, they lose their power over you. This is the essence of letting go. Letting go doesn't mean suppressing your thoughts or pretending they don't exist. It means observing them without judgment or attachment. Think of your thoughts like birds in a cage. You can hold on to them tightly, keeping them trapped and under your control, or you can open the cage and let them fly away. When you release them, you create space for peace, clarity, and freedom. But why do we hold on to thoughts so tightly in the first place? It's because we've been taught that overthinking leads to solutions. From a young age, we're told to figure things out and think it through. This mindset creates the illusion that the more we analyze our thoughts, the more control we'll have over our lives. But in reality, overthinking creates stress and anxiety, not solutions. Consider this. Have you ever laid awake at night, replaying an awkward conversation or worrying about something you can't control? Did it help? Probably not. The more you analyzed, the worse you felt. That's because clinging to thoughts traps you in a mental loop, draining your energy and clouding your perspective. Letting go, on the other hand, breaks the cycle and allows you to move forward. One of the most powerful tools for letting go is mindfulness. When you practice mindfulness, you focus on the present moment rather than getting lost in the stories your mind creates. For example, if you're washing dishes, pay attention to the feel of the water on your hands, the sound of the plates clinking, the rhythm of your movements. By anchoring yourself in the present, you create space between yourself and your thoughts. You begin to see them as passing phenomena, rather than as something you need to act on or believe. Here's a liberating truth. Your thoughts can't control you unlet them. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. When you stop identifying with the mental chatter, you unlock a profound sense of freedom. You realize that you don't have to hold on to every worry, fear, or insecurity that arises. You can let them drift away like clouds in the sky or leaves on a river. Letting go is not about giving up. It's about gaining perspective. It's about recognizing that you don't need to solve every thought or cling to every emotion. By letting go, you free yourself from the storm of the mind and discover the calm, limitless ocean beneath. So the next time a thought arises that causes you stress or anxiety, pause. Ask yourself, do I need to hold on to this? Is it serving me? If the answer is no, let it go. Release it like letting a bird fly free. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer. And when you learn to let go, you discover a life of clarity, peace, and freedom. Who are you without your thoughts? If you're not your thoughts, then who are you? It's a profound question, one that most of us never stop to ask. We've been conditioned to believe that the constant chatter in our minds defines us. The endless stream of ideas, memories, worries, and opinions feels so personal, so real, that we assume it's who we are. But here's the truth. You are not your thoughts. You are something much deeper, something far more incredible. And uncovering that truth can transform your life. Let's start with a simple observation. Thoughts come and go. They're temporary. One moment, you're worrying about the future, and the next, you're replaying a memory from years ago. If your thoughts are constantly changing, how can they possibly define you? Think about it. If you were truly your thoughts, wouldn't you be as fleeting and unstable as they are? Here's a way to experience this for yourself. Take a moment to notice your thoughts. Close your eyes and pay attention to the mental chatter. What's happening? You're watching your thoughts, aren't you? This ability to observe your thoughts proves one powerful truth. You are the observer, not the thoughts themselves. Imagine standing in a quiet forest. Without the noise of the city, you begin to notice subtle sounds you've never heard before. The rustling of leaves, the chirping of birds, the gentle whisper of the wind. This stillness allows you to connect with something deeper. The same happens when you quiet your mind. Beneath the mental noise lies your true self, the pure awareness that exists beyond thought. This awareness, your true self, doesn't come and go like thoughts do. It's steady, unchanging, and always present. It's the part of you that remains calm even when your mind feels chaotic. It's the part of you that can experience peace, clarity, and freedom regardless of what's happening around you. But why is this realization so powerful? Because when you stop identifying with your thoughts, you stop being controlled by them. Think about how often thoughts like "I'm not good enough" or "I'll never succeed" hold you back. These thoughts feel real because you've been conditioned to believe them. But once you recognize that they're just fleeting mental events, not who you are, you take away their power. Here's an analogy. Imagine watching a storm from the safety of your home. The wind howls, the rain pours, and thunder rumbles. But no matter how intense the storm gets, it can't touch you inside your cozy house. Now, picture your thoughts as that storm. They may rage, but your true self, the observer, is like the house, calm, grounded, and unaffected. This perspective changes everything. When you realize you're not your thoughts, you no longer feel the need to fight them or cling to them. You can let them come and go, like clouds drifting across the sky. This detachment doesn't mean ignoring your thoughts. It means recognizing them for what they are: temporary, unreliable, and not a reflection of your true self. But who are you without your thoughts? You are the vast, limitless awareness that exists beyond the mental noise. You are the one who notices beauty, feels joy, and experiences life fully. This realization allows you to live authentically, free from the labels, fears, and doubts your mind creates. So the next time your mind is racing, take a deep breath and remind yourself, I am not my thoughts. I am the awareness behind them. By shifting your focus from the mental chatter to the quiet presence within, you'll discover a sense of peace and clarity that has always been there, waiting for you. You are not the storm, you are the sky. You are not the waves, you are the ocean. And once you embrace this truth, you'll uncover the limitless potential of your true self. The roots of illusion. Where do thoughts come from? Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, where do my thoughts come from? It's a question most of us never think about, yet it holds the key to understanding why our minds can be so deceptive. The truth is, your thoughts aren't as personal or original as you might believe. They're shaped by layers of conditioning, your upbringing, culture, environment, and past experiences. Once you uncover the roots of your thoughts, you can begin to see them for what they are, fleeting illusions, not reflections of your true self. Think about it. If you were born into a completely different culture, with a different language, set of beliefs, and environment, your thoughts would be entirely different, wouldn't they? A child raised in a quiet village with no access to modern technology would never worry about social media algorithms or unread emails. Their thoughts would reflect their surroundings, just as yours reflect yours. This simple realization reveals a profound truth. Your thoughts are not inherently you. They are shaped by external influences, not by who you truly are. Let's break this down further. Imagine you're walking past someone and they don't smile at you. Your mind instantly generates a thought. Did I do something wrong? Are they upset with me? But where did that thought come from? Did you consciously choose to think it? Or was it a reflex, shaped by past experiences of feeling rejected or judged? The reality is, most of your thoughts are automatic responses, conditioned by your history and environment. They're like echoes, bouncing off the walls of your subconscious. This understanding is incredibly liberating. When you realize that your thoughts are not personal, you can stop taking them so seriously. You can start to see them as mental events, rather than as truths or reflections of who you are. For example, if a thought arises saying, I'm not good enough, instead of believing it, you can pause and ask, where did this come from? Is this really mine, or is it just conditioning from past experiences? The roots of your thoughts run deep, often reaching back to your childhood. Think about the messages you received growing up. Were you told to be perfect or work harder to be loved? Were you criticized, compared, or praised only for certain achievements? These early influences shape the stories your mind tells you today. If you were raised in an environment that emphasized fear or scarcity, if you grew up with high expectations, you might struggle with thoughts of self-doubt or inadequacy. But here's the good news. Once you recognize that your thoughts are products of conditioning, you can begin to break free from them. You don't have to believe every thought that arises. You can choose to question them, observe them, and let them pass without clinging to them. Think of your thoughts as shadows on a wall. They might look real, but they're entirely dependent on the light source behind them. The next time a thought arises, especially one that causes you stress or anxiety, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, where did this thought come from? Is it rooted in reality, or is it just a shadow of my past conditioning? By questioning your thoughts, you start to see their illusory nature. you realize they're not as solid or truthful as they seem. This creates space for you to connect with something deeper, your true self, the part of you that exists beyond the noise of the mind. Here's the ultimate truth. Your thoughts are not you. They're shaped by your environment, your upbringing, and your past experiences, but they don't define you. When you let go of identifying with your thoughts, you unlock a profound sense of freedom. You're no longer trapped by the stories your mind tells. Instead, you can live from a place of clarity, authenticity, and peace. So, the next time a thought arises that feels overwhelming or painful, remember, it's just a reflection of your conditioning. It's not the truth. It's not you. Let it drift away like a shadow fading in the light. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. And the moment you uncover the roots of illusion, you set yourself free to live as your truest, most authentic self. The observer V's, the observed, discovering your true self. Have you ever noticed that you can observe your thoughts? That there's a part of you watching as your mind races, wanders, or loops endlessly? This might sound simple, but it holds a life-changing truth. You are not your thoughts. You are the one observing them. This distinction between the observer and the observed is the key to unlocking inner peace, freedom, and clarity. Think about it for a moment. If you were truly your thoughts, how could you step back and notice them? For instance, if you're feeling angry, there's a part of you that can observe the anger. That part of you isn't caught up in the emotion. It's calm, steady, and aware. This is your true self, the observer. It's the silent, unchanging awareness that exists beyond the ever-changing storm of thoughts and emotions. Imagine sitting in a theater. Your thoughts are like the play unfolding on stage, dramatic, chaotic, or even entertaining. But you're not the play, you're the audience, calmly watching it all. This shift in perspective is incredibly liberating. Instead of getting lost in the drama of your mind, you can step back, observe, and choose how to respond. Here's an example you might relate to. Let's say you have a big presentation tomorrow, and your mind starts spinning with thoughts like, what if I forget what to say? In that moment, you might feel consumed by anxiety. But if you pause and notice the thoughts, you create space between you and them. You realize these are just thoughts. I don't have to believe them. Suddenly, the grip of anxiety loosens, and you can approach the situation with greater clarity and calm. This separation between the observer and the observed doesn't mean ignoring your thoughts or suppressing them. It means recognizing them for what they are, fleeting mental events, not reflections of your identity or truth. Think of your thoughts like clouds in the sky. Some are light and fluffy, while others are dark and heavy. But no matter how intense the clouds get, the sky remains unchanged. You are the sky, not the clouds. But why does this distinction matter so much? Because most of us spend our lives identifying with our thoughts. If a negative thought arises, we believe it. I'm not good enough. If an anxious thought appears, we act as though it's true. Something terrible is going to happen. This identification traps us in cycles of fear, doubt, and overthinking. But the moment you realize, I am not my thoughts, I am the one observing them, you break free from these cycles. Practicing this perspective takes time, but it's incredibly rewarding. Start by noticing your thoughts without judgment. You can do this through mindfulness meditation or simply pausing throughout your day to observe your mind. When a thought arises, ask yourself, who is noticing this thought? Is it me or is it the observer? You'll quickly realize that there's a deeper part of you that's always present, calm, steady, and untouched by the mind's chatter. This shift in awareness doesn't just help you navigate stress or anxiety. It transforms how you experience life. You begin to respond to situations rather than react impulsively. Instead of being swept away by fear, doubt, or insecurity, you approach life from a place of peace and clarity. Here's the beautiful truth. The observer is your true self. It's the part of you that remains unshaken, no matter what thoughts or emotions arise. It's the awareness that watches the mind without getting caught up in its stories. And the more you connect with this part of yourself, the more freedom you'll experience. So the next time your mind feels chaotic, take a deep breath. Pause. Notice the thoughts swirling around. And remind yourself, I am not my thoughts. I am the observer. In that moment, you'll feel the weight of the mind begin to lift, and you'll reconnect with the limitless, peaceful awareness that is your true self. You are not the waves of the ocean. You are the vast, steady ocean itself. You are not the storms in the sky. You are the sky. This realization will change how you see yourself and your life, allowing you to live with a sense of clarity, calm, and freedom that you never thought possible. Lessons learned, breaking free from the illusions of your mind. After exploring the nature of thoughts, the illusion of control, and the profound realization of who you truly are, it's time to reflect on the lessons these truths teach us. These insights are more than just ideas. They are invitations to transform how we see ourselves and live our lives. Let's dive into the key takeaways that can help you break free from the mental chatter and uncover the clarity, peace, and freedom you've been searching for. 1. You are not your thoughts. One of the most liberating truths is that you are not defined by your thoughts. While thoughts can feel deeply personal, they're simply fleeting electrical impulses shaped by your environment, upbringing, and experiences. They come and go, like clouds drifting across the sky. Remember, you are the sky, not the clouds. When a negative or anxious thought arises, pause and remind yourself, this thought is not who I am. It's just passing through. By creating this separation between yourself and your thoughts, you begin to loosen their grip on your emotions and actions. This simple yet powerful practice can help you approach life with greater clarity and resilience. 2. Thoughts are not facts. Your mind often presents thoughts as absolute truths, but they're not. Thoughts are interpretations, guesses, and sometimes outright distortions of reality. They're shaped by cognitive biases, past experiences, and subconscious fears. For example, when you think, I'll never be good enough, ask yourself, is this really true? Or is it just my mind replaying an old story? By questioning your thoughts, instead of blindly believing them, you take back your power. You start to see situations and yourself more clearly, free from the filters of fear, doubt, or insecurity. This awareness is the first step toward living authentically and confidently. 3. Letting go brings freedom. We've been conditioned to believe that holding on to thoughts and analyzing them gives us control. But the truth is, Clinging to thoughts creates stress, anxiety, and endless mental loops. Real freedom comes from letting go. Letting go doesn't mean ignoring your thoughts. It means observing them without judgment and choosing not to hold on to them. Imagine your thoughts as leaves floating on a river. Instead of jumping in to grab every leaf, you can sit on the riverbank and watch them drift by. This practice creates space for peace, clarity, and emotional freedom. 4. The observer is your true self. Beneath the noise of the mind lies your true self, the observer. This is the part of you that watches your thoughts without getting caught up in them. It's calm, steady, and unchanging, no matter how chaotic life feels. Connecting with the observer transforms how you respond to challenges. Instead of reacting impulsively to every thought or emotion, you gain the ability to pause, reflect, and act intentionally. This shift not only reduces stress, but also helps you live from a place of authenticity and inner peace. 5. Your thoughts are products of conditioning. Understanding that your thoughts are shaped by conditioning is incredibly freeing. They're not inherently yours. They're reflections of your environment, culture, and experiences. This means you don't have to believe every thought that arises. When a thought causes you stress or self-doubt, pause and ask, is this thought truly mine, or is it just a product of my past? This simple act of questioning can break the cycle of automatic thinking and help you reconnect with your deeper self. 6. Mindfulness is the key. Practicing mindfulness, staying present in the moment, helps you detach from the mental chatter and connect with the stillness within. Whether it's focusing on your breath, the sensation of water on your hands while washing dishes, or the sounds around you, mindfulness creates space between you and your thoughts. This space is where freedom begins. Final reflection: you are more than your mind. Your thoughts are not who you are. They are fleeting, unreliable, and shaped by forces outside your control. But beneath the illusions of the mind lies something extraordinary: your true self. This self is not defined by fear, doubt, or insecurity. It is vast, limitless, and filled with clarity and peace. You are not the storm, you are the sky. You are not the waves, you are the ocean. By letting go of the mental chatter and reconnecting with your true self, you can live a life of authenticity, freedom, and purpose. These lessons are not just ideas, they are tools to help you navigate life with more grace and awareness. Embrace them, practice them, and watch as the illusions of your mind fade, revealing the beauty and potential of your true self.